Okay, welcome everyone. My name is Leslie Fontanilla. I've been with Archer Travel for about 3.5 years. I'm a silver, and today we are going to talk about vision. What would you love? Vision workshop. So, a little bit about me. I've been working on personal development um, for a while now. Probably starting around 2018 is when I started to really dig into personal development. So I think mindset and working on yourself is so important in life, and just being an entrepreneur, it definitely is a benefit when you can work on yourself, because being an entrepreneur is not for the faint of heart. And I've noticed that the more energy and effort I put into myself, bettering myself, it helps in all aspects, especially my business. So let me just do present mode. So this is the What Would You Love Vision Workshop. So that is the question we are going to be answering today. What is it that you would absolutely love? So I want to welcome you to this, and just take a deep breath. This is your time to pause and dream. And today we'll get clear on what you really want in life and business. These are the areas that we're going to be talking about today. So we're going to talk about time and money freedom, profession and purpose, love and relationships, and health and energy. So while this is a business call, of course, but other aspects of our life, right, definitely influence our business, and like love and relationships and health and energy. We want to make sure that those are good as well. And throughout the presentation, you will see a bunch of affirmations. So the affirmation for this slide is, I am open to limitless possibilities and ready to receive them. So we want to take a look at your numbers, meaning, without any judgment, just notice what you're noticing. Give yourself permission to dream for sure. So in the area of time and money freedom, like, do you feel like it's one, meaning there's no time, no money freedom there? Or maybe scale of five being, doing amazing in that department. So just think about your number, write it down if possible. And then when it comes to your profession and purpose, do you feel like that? Where do you feel that rates on the scale of 1 to 5? Next is love and relationships. So, with that, again, rate that department of your life from 1 to 5, 1 being not so great, and 5 being amazing. And last but not least, rate your life, in the department of health and energy. And, 1 being not so great, to 5 being you're in the best shape of your life, you're energetic and thriving. And these numbers are for you, and there's no judgment with this. It's just sort of a starting point. Like, where in your life needs would you like to work on? Because again, all of these influence us, influence our businesses, all of that, right? So let me see. So mindset is a big, big part of this. Everything starts with your mindset. It's literally the foundation for everything. And there is a difference between having a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. So, someone with a growth mindset will be positive, looking for solutions, right? Taking initiative when tough times happen, they're looking at it as an opportunity. They're seeing what they can learn from it. A fixed mindset has no room for growth, meaning they are just so fixed on how things are. Um, they're very limited. So if something is not working out, that's just the way it is, and there's no room for improvement. Very rigid in thinking. A lot of time, fixed mindset people think either black or white, and we know that in life a lot of things aren't just black or white. um what was the last category? So health and energy. um so yeah, definitely rate your life in each of those areas so we can take a look. And then having the mindset of growth and seeing where you being open to possibilities. I think that's the best way to describe a growth mindset. Open to possibilities, willing to learn, willing to grow, um, even despite difficult situations, difficult when obstacles come up. How do you navigate that? Do you, when you get an obstacle that comes up, do you throw your hands up and say I'm quitting, or do you try to look for other solutions, other creative solutions? The importance of self-talk is also huge. Because your mindset influences self talk. So we need to be especially mindful about how we talk to ourselves. We are our own worst critic. And whether you say you can or you can't, you're absolutely right. Um, if you, like, maybe for someone who might be tech challenged, or doesn't have a lot of experience using computers or cell phones or anything like that, they might say, oh, technology is too hard, and already putting up a barrier there. But somebody with a growth mindset will say, well, I'm still learning this thing, and still trying to work at it. So things that I say to myself, that help me shift my mindset with self-talk is, I'm getting better and better each day. I'm learning more and more each day. Things like that. um, or maybe I'll say something like, um, like, oh, shoot, I had more examples in my mind while I was putting this together. But how you talk to yourself really, really makes a difference. If you're cheering yourself on, you're going to be encouraging yourself to move forward, to go through those tough times, or difficult situations, or things that just make you feel uncomfortable. So I'll give an example. I have been going live on TikTok lately. Today will be my 10th day going live on TikTok, which is crazy amazing. If you know me, I'm definitely an introvert, but I do like to help others. And Amy Cabrera, one of our leaders in the company, she issued a challenge on our Learn and Earn calls to go live on TikTok for 21 days for 90 minutes each and to talk about travel. So far, I've gone 10 days, and my self talk had a lot to do with it, because we need to try and be positive and optimistic. Absolutely. Um, my self talk definitely had an influence on me going live and stepping out of my comfort zone, because I could have told myself two different things, right? I could have told myself, you're going to suck. Nobody cares if you go live. Nobody's going to listen to you. Who are you, right? That's the mean girl saying that kind of stuff. That she can easily pop her head into my brain for sure. Or we have the bestie instead of the mean girl, right? That can that cheers me on, right? So I could she says stuff like, you got this, you matter, people want to hear from you, you're an amazing travel agent. So which voice am I going to listen to, right? Am I going to listen to the mean girl, or am I going to listen to the bestie voice? So I'm working on self care, self-talk, self-love, all of those things, because it really, really can make a big difference in your business. And if you, are going through something and you need to vent, there's also a space for that. Like, we definitely, like in our accountability groups and stuff, we say no negative Nancy's, only positive Pollyannas, because of the same sort of thing. We want to keep it positive because, again, when we have that growth mindset, we can make things happen. But if you're fixed and you're determined and stubborn about this is too hard for me to do, then it's not going to get done. So self-talk is so important. So we want to, yes, me too, for sure. For sure, for sure. So we want to have that CEO energy, right? We are the bosses of our business. That's why we got started in this business, right? To have the flexibility and freedom, um, schedule wise, right? To be able to work around kids or whatever we got going on, other jobs, maybe you're in school, maybe, you have different projects you're working on or whatever. um, and so the vibe of a CEO is I don't chase, I attract, right? We're not chasing down clients. We're not chasing down people that are interested in the business. We are composed. We are, we have good posture, and the right people will find us. The right clients will find us. The right team builders will find us because we have that CEO energy. And energy can be transferred very easily right now with technology, over Zoom, over a phone call, through your voice, through pictures of your face, your facial expressions. And the CE energy, it has the vibe that everything that is for me comes to me easily. And it's a confident and calm energy, not rushing and panic and freaking out, you know, um, because we know and trust that everything is coming to us that we deserve. So the affirmation for this is I am growing into the best version of myself every single day. So a little science stuff, because this is, there's something in your brain called neurological pathways. So they are the grooves in your brain. They are deep, like the lines in your brain that are deep and well worn. So they're almost like ditches, and that's like your default mode. So when you're growing up, you might have been told things like, "Oh, you're so smart," or "You're so funny," or um, "You're so talented," right? Like maybe our family members told us that and we remember that. But a lot of times, um, it was the other kind of things that family members say, and maybe don't they don't say it necessarily, out of because they want to hurt us or harm us, but the things that they say can be hurtful to us, right? Like my grandma, she will always have something to say about my weight, right? She always says, "Oh, you gained weight again." So that weight loop is in my brain, and I've had to work on that, right? Work on my self-love. Um, and if I don't work on reprogramming my thinking and replace it with the bestie talk compared to the mean girl talk and let the mean girl win, um, you know, I can go down a deep dark hole, right? So we don't want that. We are changing the way our brain thinks, our brain runs. So everything is created twice, once in your brain because you have to think up the idea, and then in real life. And your subconscious doesn't know the difference between something happening if it's a memory or if it's happening like right now. So the brain is such a powerful tool and instrument, and I've done research on this for several years, and sat on several like webinars and stuff about this. And yes, absolutely, negativity can really hurt and affect us if we let it. Yes. So that's why we are switching the script. We are being positive, and have positive be the default, right? Have the growth mindset be the default. And it does take work. It does take sort of reprogramming. And I will talk about that in a few of the slides coming up. But um, once we notice what we notice, we can make a change. So if we notice that the mean girl is on repeat in our brains, and because it's so default, it might feel natural that the mean girl is there. But once we're reminded, like, hey, actually, we do have a bestie that, the bestie side that can come in and help us. Um, Welcome in, Brianna. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hopping on. Okay, so definitely we're working on reprogramming our brains, how we think, because having that growth mindset is key. So, in terms of vision, what do I mean by a vision? Well, to me, it's sort of like your long term goals. And how can we know where we're going, where we're headed, if we don't know where we're going, right? So, having a long term goal or vision is how I like to call it. Um, Sort of gives us a sense of direction, a sense of we're walking to that mountain and we're going to climb to that peak, right? Because if we don't know which way we're going, we don't have some sort of like direction, we're going to be, it's easy to go all over the place. And for me, I squirrel, like they say, very easily. So, I'll be texting someone here and then, I got to go make my son something to eat. So I get distracted. I'm posting something in a group and responding to comment. So, we just need to have some way to focus our energy and, and have, something to, like a lighthouse, something that'll guide us, that'll direct us that way, in that general direction, so that we can focus in and achieve what we want. So we're going to do a little writing, a little examination, and this is very personal, right? It's your vision. What would you absolutely love? So some tips for writing your vision are write it in present tense, like it's happening right now. Even if you don't have $1 million in the bank, if that would, make you happy and light you up and get you excited, you can say, I am so happy and grateful now that I have $1 million in the bank. And it might feel a little weird. It will feel a little weird. Because you're like, but wait, no, I don't. um but just keep putting that vibe and that energy out there, because you'll start to find like different opportunities will pop up. I don't really know how to explain it, but this has happened to me. And I'll yeah So when I started visioning back in 2018, my vision was, um, I live in Hawaii, and I was living in California at the time. I live in Hawaii. We travel to all these places like Italy, Greece, Japan. I fly easily back and forth from California to Hawaii. I'm helping an amazing team of women, grow their businesses. And I would keep saying that and keep saying that. And some of the things have already happened, which is amazing. So I do have, firsthand experience in doing this stuff. So you definitely tips for writing your vision are, write it in present tense. Start with, I am so happy and grateful now that I blah, 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 whatever your vision is. Be as descriptive as possible to create the emotion. And your vision doesn't have to make sense yet, it just has to feel right. So this is like, deep down in your soul, like what you feel is your purpose. Like when I first started visioning, I knew I was supposed to move back to Hawaii. I had no idea how the heck that was going to happen, though. Zero clue how that was going to happen. And I kept having faith, and I kept saying it, and I kept, putting in the work in and working on myself. And now 2022, I moved to Hawaii. And I know part of my vision was, I drink my coffee every morning, in a beautiful garden, and I have a house and a dog. I mean, some of those things came true. I do have a little like balcony lanai thing in our apartment. And there are lots of trees and palm trees right there. So it does feel like a garden, so that kind of feels like it. Um, I don't have a house yet. I don't have a dog yet, but it's coming together. My point is that it comes together and this stuff really works. And you want to give yourself permission to dream bigger than ever before. I'm a firm believer that our hopes and dreams are for a reason. First of all, we deserve them. And second of all, like if we wouldn't have them if they weren't meant for us, I feel. And everyone's vision is different, right? What would light me up and get me excited may or may not light you up and get you excited, but there might be some things that we have in common, like wanting to travel more, wanting to, provide, make sure that our kids don't have to worry once we're gone. Like that's a big one. So those are some tips for writing your vision. And now we're going to sort of focus in on each of these categories. So, what would you love in terms of time and money freedom? What would you love? What would get you excited thinking about time and money freedom? Write this down or type it out on your notebook. I mean, computer. But these are some questions to think about. So, what would your ideal day look like if money and time were no object? Right? Would you be going on trips with your kids more or your family more? Would you be, going to the beach, going to the mountains? What would your day look like and feel like? And when you focus on serving others, income becomes a reflection of impact. So, um, I know so many of us travel agents are very heart centered, which I love and appreciate, right? We have that serving um, attitude where we help others. We help others grow. We genuinely want others to succeed as well. And so think about the impact that you can have when you have time and money freedom, right? When you have the money to go donate, $50,000 to a charity of your choice or whatever gets you excited and lights you up, makes you feel joyful inside. That is how you find out what your vision is and what your vision should be. Remember that money is energy and it flows where there's clarity, gratitude, and purpose. So, in terms of money freedom, what is that number that you would love to have coming in monthly, coming in yearly? What's that number that you would love to have saved in the bank? All of those things. Get specific. This is for you. You don't have to share this with anybody unless you want to. um, and I'll talk about that in a few slides going down. But your vision is personal to you. So write about, what would your day look like if money and time were no object? If you could do anything because you had all the time and money in the world, what would you want to be doing, spending your time? For me, I would want to be traveling with my son. He's in middle school, and then sometimes all of these different objections or conditions, right, come in, like listen to me, I'm saying, oh, I would love to just go travel with my son anytime, and what does my brain do? It says, oh, but he's in middle school, you can't take him out of school, right? So don't put limits like that on yourself. Just dream. Just go with what feels good. So hopefully that gave you some ideas for specifically time and money freedom. So that area. And then the affirmation for this one is I attract abundance, opportunities, and freedom with ease. So the next category is profession and purpose. So think about now what you would love in terms of your profession and purpose. So some questions to ask for this part is, what do you love helping others with? What lights you up inside? Your business can be a vehicle for change for you, for your family, and others, right? And we always want to serve from the heart. And when you help people create joy through travel, you create legacy. So This is, of course, a travel agent business and company. But what do you love helping others with? So this also can be our niche, right? Can be more specific to what we specialize in. So I love helping families travel. I really love helping, especially single moms, travel, because I am one, right? And just showing them that it is possible to travel on a budget with your kids. If your niche is cruising and you like to help people plan cruises, or and that can be your purpose, to help people see how or know how to cruise in a way that feels good, and to encourage that. And everyone's is, of course, going to be a little different, but what would you love your profession and purpose to be, right? How are you helping people? What are you helping people do exactly? Overall picture, right? Because we're travel agents, we help people make memories. We help people plan trips. We help people, doing the research and taking that stress off of them. But um just try to dig a little deeper, I guess, at this part. Like, what do you like to help others with specifically for you, and what lights you up inside? Like, if you could have your dream ideal client, where would they want to go? What would they want to do? Like, who would they be? Like, would they be a mom? Would they be a single person? Would they be into music? Or just think about who you would love to help in terms of your profession and purpose, and focus on that. So, the affirmation for this one is: I attract abundance, opportunities, and freedoms with ease, and I am doing what I love, and it rewards me daily. So, I've been going live on TikTok, right, for a few days now, and something that hearing myself say on there is, which is true, is that, you know, um, it doesn't feel like work to me. So that's how I know that this travel business is definitely part of my vision, is definitely part of my purpose. And a few years ago, before I found out about Archer and Evolution, I knew that I wanted the freedom. I wanted the time and money freedom. I wanted to travel more, but I had no idea how it was going to happen, right? So I'm really grateful and happy that someone introduced me to this opportunity. So now I'm able to help other people get started too. Okay, in the love and relationship department, what would you love? So, questions or things to think about for this one is: the people around you influence your energy and success. So, you definitely want to choose wisely, and yourself with those who inspire, uplift, and believe in your potential. And relationships thrive when you show up as your best, most authentic self. So, some of my parts of my vision in regards to this area, love and relationships, um, are things like, I have an amazing team that I'm helping. I have an amazing team, and we're all thriving and growing together. Also, me and my son Damien get closer each day. Also, I'm open to receiving and giving love from others. Um, Also, I say stuff like, in terms of my parents, like, me and my parents have a good relationship and they get to know my son, stuff like that. So it is very personal, but love and relationships definitely have a big impact again on that mindset. And when we do have a supportive community around us, it definitely makes a big difference, right? Not to say that you can't build this business even with people not really being supportive. You can, but of course, when you have the support, you have the encouragement, it it makes all the difference, right? That's why we have accountability groups. That's why we have team building and team calls and all of that kind of stuff to keep us connected, and that's all relationships, right? So, what would you love in the area of love and relationships? And each one of these, make sure you're writing it in, starting with "I am so happy and grateful now that I," and present tense. You know, maybe if you're single like me, you could say, "Now I found the love of my life." I have written that before. And or maybe I have an amazing friend group and we get together regularly and we hang out and we go out and all of those things, because anything that you would love, you are definitely worthy of being happy, and whatever makes you happy. So that, for me, that means having a good friend group, where we're social and doing stuff, good relationship with my son, good relationship with my parents, good relationship with my agents, right? So just what would you love? And for this one, the affirmation is I attract love, harmony, and supportive relationships in every area of my life. And last but not least, the Department of Health and Wellness. So, what would you love for your health and wellness? You can't pour from an empty cup, right? Your health is your foundation. So, you definitely want to protect your peace and your energy. Stress and burnout block creativity and flow, and you always want to listen to your body. So, what would you love in health and wellness? Would you love more energy? Would you love to be less tired? Would you love to get a good night's sleep? Then you can say something like, I am so happy and grateful now that every night I get my 8 hours sleep and I sleep well and I wake up the next morning full of energy, ready to go, ready to serve. Um, Something that I say in my vision is I am healthy and fit. Um, I like to move my body and drink all the water or something like that, whatever you want to work on in terms of health and wellness. Because it is true, you can't pour from an empty cup. So we have to protect our physical body and our energy and energetic body as well. We can't, um, for me, I have to make sure I'm in a good mindset so that I can show up for my agents, so I can show up for my business partners. If I'm in a weird negative Nancy mindset and frame of thinking, I will, remove myself, put myself on a timeout, to be honest with you, until I am able to shift that and change that, because I know that I can influence people with my energy, good or bad, right? And so if I'm in a funk, I won't really put myself out there, right? Because I want to switch that up so that I can help others for good. I don't want to bring others down when I'm going through stuff. Um, but yeah, what would you love in terms of your health and wellness? Would you love to, maybe you would love to run a marathon? Maybe that lights you up. Maybe the idea of and thought of running a marathon, 26 miles all over at different locations all over the country, maybe that gets you excited. For me, I'm going to pass on the marathon, right? That's not my jam, but maybe for me something like I'm an amazing and strong hula dancer who dances gracefully, and then my hula skills would probably get better if once keep saying that. So, what would you love in terms of health and wellness? And I know we don't talk too much about like health and wellness and love and relationships on our calls, on our business calls, but it does have a profound impact on our mindset and how we show up for our businesses, right? So, I think that is important for sure. And the affirmation is I am vibrant, healthy, and full of powerful energy. Okay, so here are some affirmations. You can screenshot this if you want. You can screenshot any of the slides, of course, if you want. But here are some affirmations that I like that resonate with me, and you can jot these down and start saying them. I am capable of creating my dream life. I attract success, joy, and abundance easily. I am grateful for where I am and excited for where I'm going. Everything I desire is already on its way to me. My consistency, energy, and mindset create results. And so there is some homework, right? So we did talk about our vision and how we would like our vision to look like in different areas of your life. So now a step further is to write your vision in more detail and say it out loud every morning. Remember, you deserve to have everything you wish to have, be, do, or create. And then use the affirmations to reaffirm your vision. So yeah, definitely you'll want to take some time, on your own to just think about each of those areas that we talked about, right? Time and money freedom, profession and purpose, health and wellness, and love and relationships. And definitely work with that. Oh, nice. Thank you, Bree. Brianna shared her affirmations. That is awesome. Thank you for sharing those in the chat. Yeah, affirmations are really, really powerful. Our words are so powerful. Um, so that's awesome. And then you can also create a vision board, get materials, find some magazines, do some arts and crafts, cut out images of your dream life, cut out images of the house that you want, cut out images of the car you want to drive, the trips that you want to take, and put it together. A lot of people are visual learners, and a lot of times seeing that vision board right in front of you helps it come to reality. Um, so there's different ways to do vision boards, right? You can get the magazines and cut them out and paste it on a poster board or something so you can see that. Or you could also create a digital version uh, of a vision board and put it on your computer screen or phone wallpaper, right? You want to make sure that you're seeing it every day. Seeing it daily will keep it on top of mind and make it a reality. You can also set alarms on your phone with affirmations. So I do the phone alarm thing. Um, so every 45 minutes, I have an affirmation going off on my phone that says part of my vision, and one of those is I travel easily from California to Hawaii. And when I first was saying that, there were some years where I couldn't even afford to go, not even once, to Hawaii. This year I went 4 years. So I'm a firm believer that this stuff works because it has worked personally for me in my life. And yeah. And let me see, what else did Bree drop in the chat? Oh, nice. Oh, is that your vision board? Very nice. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, cool. Let me go back to 1 second here. Okay. What else do we have here? Oh, so that's the homework to write out your vision. And then, yes, absolutely. Awesome. So here are, did I skip a slide? No. Okay, so you got your homework down, right? Write it out and do a vision board or a digital one. Here are some baby steps. So, baby steps together make big steps and strides, right? So, here's how I find out what my baby steps are. So, what I do is, especially when I'm overwhelmed, I will do a brain dump, which means what stream of consciousness, right? Whatever I have, whatever crazy overwhelming thoughts I have in my brain. Like, I need to post my new client or my new agent's recognition flyer. I need to schedule out my post for the week. I need to, figure out what reel I'm going to do this week. Like, all of that. just write them all out and then decide out of your list. What I do first actually is I then combine them into different groups, right? So maybe all my team building stuff, I put those in one pile together, right? All my like travel stuff, I put that in one pile together. Maybe all my son's school stuff together, all my like financials, like I've got to pay these bills or whatever, all that goes together. And then I can figure out, okay, what am I going to do? How, then I can strategize basically, right? And plan it out. So then I can make a plan of action. I set tasks on my calendar and set reminders for myself. So if I need to check in with Sally because she said she was interested in the business, that goes as a reminder on my phone when I'm going to do that, right? Um, Also, for your baby steps, get an accountability partner or join an accountability group. It's really important because, it's something different about when you're in an accountability group or when you have an accountability partner because you know that they will um, keep you on track basically. And if for some reason life is lifing, because we know that likes to happen a lot, um, accountability group or accountability partner can still cheer you on and encourage you instead of letting you listen to the mean girl and who likes to say stuff like, oh, you're a failure, now you got to start all over kind of thing. Your accountability partner and your accountability group should be there cheering you on and also encouraging you, like, okay, so what did you maybe do a little different, or what would you do differently next time, or how are you going to make sure you get that done next week so that you stay on track. Definitely celebrate every win, celebrate big wins, small wins. A win is a win. A win is a win. If you posted on social media that day, I think that's a win. I think it's a win if you reached out to somebody that said they were interested in booking a trip with you or about the business, right? Um, Maybe, even if you don't get to reach out to 50 people today, if you reached out to one or two people, that's still something. That's still better than nothing. And over perfection. Progress over perfection. Yeah. So you just want to do the baby steps, do what you can, set reminders for yourself, get an accountability group or get an accountability partner, and definitely have an attitude of gratitude. When I am so grateful for everything that I have, it helps me get everything that I want, if that makes sense, right? I'm grateful for my apartment. I'm grateful that I live in Hawaii. I'm grateful for the agents that I have on my team right now. And I still, of course, dream bigger, right? I can't wait to get that house with the yard, with the dog, all of those things, right? I'm grateful for my team, but I'm still growing my team, and I'm still growing my team. So we practice the attitude of gratitude and, working for what we want while still grateful for what we have, for sure. And also having that attitude of gratitude, it's high vibing, it's good energy. It's, you can't be in a bad mood when you're practicing gratitude, right? Because it's one way that I've learned to shift quickly when I'm in a funk, and sometimes it can be hard to find things to be grateful for when you're that way. But, when you do find things to be grateful for, even in a dark spot, even during a tough time, it makes so much difference. It's just that little glimmer of hope that you might need to step forward and do something. And you never know which baby step you take is going to be the baby step that's actually a big step, because and it all works together, right? So one move you make here could result in you maybe meeting up with a client, that you wouldn't have met before. Maybe now they want to go on a, 50 cabin cruise or something for a month or whatever, or maybe you needed to go to this networking event to meet this person who then connected you to this business. You just never know. So it may not make sense, but just go with it. Because what's the worst that could happen, right? You could make progress on your business. And yeah. So here's a little extra credit. You can share your vision in your accountability group or with an accountability partner and let them know what is it that you would absolutely love. You can post your vision board or a picture of your electronic vision board in any of the group chats. And definitely, like I said, celebrate every win, big or small. And no matter what, keep going. We definitely got this. Thank you so much for being here. A quick reminder, you have everything within you to make your dream life real. The next step is to create it, speak it, and live it. So let's go. I believe in you, ladies. And I know that we can make this happen. We just got to keep going and keep working at it. So, my vision is clear, my heart is open, and my future is bright. And I wish you ladies nothing but the best. And I'm really happy to be, doing this alongside with you and, being in the accountability groups, dreaming big, and, doing it one step at a time, even if that means baby steps. So we are worth it, and you and your vision are worth it. So thank you so much, ladies, for being here. I really, truly appreciate you. Yay. Let me